The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The government formed a national strategy to combat the country's rising unemployment rate brought about by the pandemic. The National Employment Recovery Strategy, or NERS 2021-2023, was created on Friday with the goal of cutting the unemployment rate. Government statistics provide that about 420,000 Filipinos lost their jobs last year. Key government agencies signed the joint memorandum creating the strategy spearheaded by DOLE, DTI, and TESDA. Now, according to Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, the government aims to provide up to about 2.8 million jobs this year and about 1.2 million jobs in 2022. He adds that the NERS aims to focus on trabajo, negosyo, and kabuhayan initiatives to uplift the condition of the labor sector, which was hit hard by the pandemic. Lawmakers have filed the third installment to the stimulus package expected to revive the country's pandemic-hit economy. House Speaker Lord Alan Velasco and Marikina Representative Stella Quimpo proposed a 420 billion pesos Bayanihan 3 law, or Bayanihan to Arise as One Act. A supermajority in the House of Representatives have expressed support to the bill. Under the proposed Bayanihan 3 law, 108 billion pesos will be allotted for social amelioration under the Department of Social Welfare and Development. 100 million pesos will go to capacity building programs for businesses in critically affected sectors. 70 billion pesos will be allotted to aid farmers, livestock producers, and fishermen. 52 billion pesos will make up wage subsidies for small businesses, and another 30 billion pesos will go to unemployment programs of the Labor Department. Likewise, 30 billion pesos will be allotted for internet allowances for students and teachers. 25 billion pesos will append the Health Department's budget, and 5 billion pesos will be allotted to the rehabilitation of areas devastated by typhoons. Kalinga's capital city of Tabuk is placed under an extended ECQ. What led to this, and what can we expect moving forward? Joining us this afternoon to answer these questions is Dr. Henrietta Bagayaw from the Tabuk City Health Office. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. First question is, what made the local government decide to extend the ECQ in Tabuk?
Yes, ma'am, because we have noted that out of 43 barangays in our locality, 18 have met the parameters in declaring these barangays as critical zones. And so it has surpassed the 25% requirement in putting a locality under ECQ. And we have requested an extension because of the continuous increase in incidence of our cases. And so we'll be able to conduct thorough contact tracing and swabbing activities to pave way for a better, we can do better contact tracing and swabbing activities, ma'am.
Doc Bagayaw, you mentioned the increase in number of infections. Do we have any information on what caused these?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe the continuous increase in our cases points to the continuous movement of our people in and out of the city. And of course, the non-cooperation of some in the observance of the minimum health protocols, like the use of face masks and the observance of social distancing. In our area, social gatherings like wakes, which are inevitable, is also, I think, one of the reasons, because lately there were series of wakes that were conducted before these cases had increased. And of course, we know the interaction of people, not only within the city, people coming within the city, but also from other places nearby our area. Of course, we cannot discount the poor cooperation of our citizenry, ma'am.
Ma'am, with that being said, what measures will the local government be taking during this period?
Yes. Although the processes as to prevention, detection, isolation, treatment, and reintegration are already in place in the city. When our area was placed under ECQ through an executive order released by the local chief executive, additional checkpoints were established in all the entry points to the city. And continuous IEC through radio with our CHO COVID-19 updates every Fridays and Magandang Tanghali Mayor every Wednesdays are aired, not to forget also the updating of our city health office page and the Tabuk City page. And of course, the BHERTs were also mandated to be on alert. And as to detection, ma'am, same protocol holds true that all returning residents and returning overseas Filipinos coming to the city will have to be tested with rapid antigen testing. And if they are positive, they are isolated at once. And those negative are collected of swab sample for RT-PCR. And of course, in the barangays, all symptomatics and suspects are also conducted rapid antigen testing as of this time because of the increasing incidence of COVID-19. And again, once identified as threat positive, they are isolated at once. So maybe this is also a thing we have learned that gave to the increasing number of our positive cases because of our active case finding, ma'am. And so for isolation and quarantine, we have also iterated all the barangays to functionalize their BIUs, aside, of course, from the LGU prepared temporary treatment and monitoring facility and isolation facilities in schools. Actually, we have a total of 200 bed capacity, and the city LGU at this point in time is on the process of establishing a 100 bed capacity CIU. As to treatment, in as much as our TTMF is accredited by PhilHealth and was given a certification by DOH to admit asymptomatic and mild confirmed cases, the CLGU has assigned a doctor to take charge of it. And of course, we have a functional referral system. So if a case needs referral, we do to the Kalinga Provincial Hospital or to the Mihakim Hospital or to the CBMC at Tuguegarao City. So these are processes that are functional in our area, and we hope that we will be able to help halt the increasing incidents. However, yesterday we again received a positive line list that we have again another 50 new cases in the city. So today our frontliners are on the process of putting them already in isolation facilities and to start again the contact tracing activities, ma'am.
Well, thank you for sharing with us all those information. Maraming salamat. That was Dr. Henrietta Bagayo from the Tabuk City Health Office. Now, here are some of the biggest stories around the nation. A magnitude 4.8 earthquake rocked parts of Mindanao this morning. PHIVOLCS located the epicenter in Magsaysay, Davao del Sur. Makilala Cotabato felt the strongest tremor at intensity 4. However, no damage and aftershock is expected. The African swine fever has now affected 3 more towns in Leyte. The affected areas are Barangay Bislig in Tanawan, Kauswagan and Liwayway in MacArthur and Baras in Palo. The Agriculture Department has called on LGUs in nearby areas to take preventive measures to stop the spread of the disease. Caloocan City has prohibited public celebrations of the Chinese New Year on February 12. Mayor Oscar Malapitan says any private gathering should include only up to 10 people as mandated by the national government. And we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're watching Bloomberg TV Philippines on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Alphabet and Google's cloud business reported an operating loss of $1.2 billion in the fourth quarter. Future and principal analyst Daniel Newman gives us his insights on Bloomberg technology. Let's listen in.
Results were outstanding with, I think, over half the earnings for the year coming in this most recent quarter. But as I said to you off the air, the cloud was the story of this quarter. My phone was ringing off the hook, people looking for comments about what's going on with the cloud business and the plan to break those numbers out. And we saw its growth coming in at 46% for this quarter. A big growth, over $13 billion for the year. So that was probably the biggest headline for me. I had a good feeling that what Ruth said was going to come true, that the lull in the advertising business was coming back as we're starting to see mobility pick up. We're starting to see more normal behavior, despite the fact that the pandemic is still looming. But I think everyone's eyes were really on this cloud breakout to say, how close is Google really in terms of Azure and AWS? And now we know. It's, not even close to the $12 billion, but it is really vying for that third position alongside the likes of Oracle and IBM.
Absolutely. As you point out, cloud revenue up 47%. The big question is, when are they going to start focusing on profitability in the cloud versus growth? And I got the sense from her, it's really still all about growth. She said, an important element of our operating loss is that we've been building out our organization ahead of revenue, product portfolio, ramping data centers, ramping sales, all of which enables us to address a very sizable total addressable market. It's interesting that we are talking about this on a day that Andy Jassy has been named the next CEO of Amazon, given that he started that AWS business and Google and Microsoft have been chasing it ever since. What's your take on Jassy taking over at Amazon and how that changes the competitive landscape in cloud?
Yeah, so as you said, the forward look about growth and profitability, Google has the luxury. You saw their bottom line results. If the company wants to keep pouring gasoline on the fire of growth and investment, the company can do so. This move to bring Andy Jassy, to me, has so much positivity in it. If you look at the performance of Amazon over the past several quarters, AWS is kind of an unsung hero. Everyone thinks about the company for its e-commerce, trucks, drones, disruptive Whole Foods. But realistically, AWS has been delivering significantly to the bottom line of that company, propping up those earnings per share, as we saw, almost a 2x for this quarter. So while the growth for AWS has come down to, about 28% this quarter, we're still looking at over $12 billion on the quarter basis. And Andy Jassy has continuously been behind this philosophy, Emily, of saying we're going to meet the customers where they are. That's been growth of data centers, new products, expanding the portfolio, expanding into software and larger platform investments beyond its infrastructure. So there's a lot to be encouraged by. Of course, I think Bezos is going to have a significant influence on this company for a long time. I think Jassy has really earned this opportunity, and I'm really excited to see this transition, to see can Amazon be a CEO-led company beyond its founder, which is something a lot of companies have to face at some point, and some do really well and others do not.
Meanwhile, as the Lunar New Year draws near, foreign teachers and students in China enjoy traditional activities that mark the celebration. Because of the pandemic, many overseas students and teachers could not return to their home countries during the winter break for the Chinese New Year. Instead, they took to sampling local cuisines, making lanterns, and trying out a dragon dance, activities that make up Chinese New Year's festivities.
It's the first time I'm celebrating New Year's, Chinese New Year's, and in North America, New Year's is one night. It's the 31st to the 1st when the calendar changes. So here, where it's like 2 full weeks of celebration and events and food and just being with people, I love it.
Those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 1:30 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.